What, just women in general?
Yeah,
No, I'm just
women in
kidding.
general, man, have torn men and friendships apart since the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of time, yeah. Speaking of that, that's a good topic.
Took down empires, man. I mean, women are powerful, man. Either for the right or wrong reasons.
What was that song that they just played? They played last night. It's like something is power.
Well, I think that's Gunna. Shout out to Gunna.
Shout out. See, I don't know. I just hear the song every night, but yeah, you know, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, man. It's dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Convos. Yeah, baby. So I'm here, Mr. Clean Deal. Happy to be back here with the gentleman himself, Mr.
Brandon Haley.
Welcome back, man. Happy to have you. How's everything going? What's life looking like, man?
Everything is lovely. Life is good. I was just making sure that this thing was actually recording.
Yeah.
But I think we're good to go.
We're all good.
You know, every day above ground is a blessing. Ain't no complaints, man. Year has started off pretty good.
Yeah.
So far, so good. This is my favorite time of the week when we get to sit down and talk about
we just
absolutely anything that
Anything
we want to talk
man.
about with all the cameras looking at us.
Yeah.
So I do want to figure out how we can do a live episode, like a live stream episode.
Yeah.
So we can get some of you guys that are loyal, super loyal fans. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. But get like a live Q&A, talk show type thing going.
Let's make it interesting.
Yeah, not every single episode, but you know,
every now and
maybe
then.
we'll try and do that sometime in the near future. But just another technological thing that we got to figure out.
Yeah, as we just figured this out on this journey that we've been on, man. Like I said, this is the oldest I've ever felt trying to figure out how all this stuff works, but we're getting there.
Yeah, learning technology is, because like millennials, we were kind of already like either big kids or adults as like all the technology and stuff was like advancing super fast. So it's like, if you didn't start learning it then, you start learning it a little bit down the road.
Little tough.
I feel like a boomer. So like,
A little bit tough. But yeah, man. So what are we getting into today?
today, we have decided to go into relationship management part 4. I think it's part 4. But your relationship with work and friends. We're going to like throw friends in there. Not work friends, maybe some work friends, but mostly your relationship with work. And I think that this is one, ironically enough, you need to work on.
My relationship with work?
Because I don't remember the last time you ever took a vacation. And you can't count going to see your family in Maryland as a vacation.
I took a cruise.
Last year? Oh, you did?
No,
You might
2023, I think.
2023. That was like 2 years ago, man. A year and a half.
Yeah, I think that was it. Wasn't it?
All right. So I told Cleon that when we do our retreat, we're going to have to like do it in like Puerto Rico or something.
He's trying to hold me hostage.
Yeah, he said it was holding him hostage. I'm like, the gun's not going to be around, so you'll be all right. But we're going to do it in Puerto Rico, home of my favorite kind of women.
Maybe that's not a good place for a retreat.
It'll be a retreat of learning, letting go.
And you'll get to exercise your self-control.
And practicing self-control.
100%.
And so it'll be a good time. I'll be practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
Trying my best because there's so much temptation out there.
I
try every day.
Wolf in a hen house there.
Yeah, so just continue to pray for me, guys, and pray for Cleon because temptation is everywhere.
Amen.
And it's not easy all the time, especially in the workplace.
Especially in the workplace, as unfortunately we know so well.
It's harder. It's harder where we work.
It's one of those things where it's like, imagine the thing that is the literal downfall of men. Just completely in your face.
What, just women in general?
Yeah,
No,
women in general, man, have torn men and friendships apart since the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of time, I guess that's a good topic.
Torn down empires, man. I'm telling you, women are powerful, man. Either for the right or wrong reasons.
Who was that song that they just played? They played last night. It's like something is power.
Well, I think that's Gunna. Shout out to Gunna.
Oh, shout out. See, I don't know. I just hear the song every night, but yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, man, it's dangerous. So, a relationship with your job,
Your
right?
relationship with your job, your relationship with work in general. How do you feel your relationship with work is in general sense, by unbiased opinion?
So, me personally, I probably have probably not that healthy. I am always in work. That's what I am doing pretty much all the time. That's all I do. That's all I've done historically. But reason for that, and obviously I kind of work out why, because like you said, I haven't taken vacation. I don't take vacations every year like people get to. I don't really take breaks. I don't take time off. I don't really do it unless I have a need to, like I'll for my birthday or something like that. But other than that, I'm not doing it usually. So the reason why is because I think about when I first moved here at 19 years old, and was working at Chipotle. I couldn't afford to take time off.
Correct.
First of all, and this is something, an indictment on them, by the way. I don't know. Nobody ever talked to me about PTO at a fast food at there. Nobody talked to me about it.
We don't want to talk about PTO.
So
right
I don't know if you get that at Chipotle, but nobody ever talked to me about it. So when I would go home, I would go home annually. I wouldn't get paid for that, but nobody ever talked to me about it because I was a full-time employee. I feel like that's one of the benefits. I feel like that's something they talked about when I got hired, but
you should have. I don't think I've ever held a job that actually has PTO.
yeah. So I don't know. So I don't know what's going on with that.
It's always been like 1099 or W9.
Brandon loves commission, man.
Some days.
But yeah, so basically starting there, I had to work because if I didn't work, I wasn't getting paid, and I was already getting paid very minimal, so I couldn't afford to not do that. And then obviously transitioned to, I went from there to windows and roofs, door to door, which that was only lasted for like 3 weeks. Then I ended up at AIL, which obviously at that point we're working on commission,
so
right?
Yeah,
no, so
no
it's like
time off ever.
I don't have enough in my account to think about taking it because I have to pay for the vacation and then also not getting paid while I'm there. So then I'm building a habit of never taking a break because in my head, I can't or else. Now I'm in a position where I probably could take some more time off.
Yeah,
but
you just don't have like a desire.
I just don't have a real desire because my first thing is, what am I going to do? Right? Because
it's work to plan it. It's work to plan a vacation.
It's so much work. And then you have to obviously figure out how much money you want to spend on going on that vacation, how long you want it to be, where you want to go, and you still got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
makes it easier to just be like,
it's easier to just go to work at that
point. It really is. Yeah. Sometimes I do feel like, actually doing a vacation is work and like planning it out. Because then it's like, where do you want to go? Then it's like endless options and opportunities where you want to go. Then it's like, oh, well, is this place safe? Or like, how am I going to get around? What am I going to do? I'm like, I don't know.
Where do I want to go once I get to the place that I'm going?
Yeah, they do have travel agents, but then it's like, who can you trust?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
It does become work. That's why.
It's like,
that's why I'd rather just tell a girl, hey, you want to go somewhere? You plan it out. I'll pay for it. Let's ride.
Like literally, yeah. I would pay somebody to plan out. So if you want me to go on vacation, if you plan it out, cool. That's all. That's probably my biggest issue. But also, I don't like the reason I don't really like missing work. Not because I feel so attached to it, but because I always feel like I'm behind. I feel like I'm in this constant cycle of being behind. So if I go out and I miss 3 days, so much could have happened in that point in which I now have to play catch up, and it's already moving fast. And so I get into this cycle of trying to catch up and then getting back behind and trying to catch back up.
Yeah, but who cares?
Right. So I do. That's what the problem is right now. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a job.
Right. Just the job, my livelihood or whatever it is.
So many of those out there, though.
You're right. And that's kind of what I guess that's kind of what the thing is, right? Depending on where you do work, like I said, it just becomes very easy to feel like you have to be there or else it'll be a problem.
Yeah, I understand that too. What advice would you give somebody that is working at a place, doesn't take vacations, but wants to quit their job?
Why do they want to quit their job?
It's unfulfilling.
It's unfulfilling. Well, see, I'm not a good person to ask this because to me, in my head, job's not supposed to be fulfilling. it's
okay. Yeah, it's supposed to pay the bills.
Yeah, and that's kind of what my problem is.
They hate it.
They hate it. Does it pay the bills?
Yeah. Do you hate your job?
Yeah, I got this on the board back here.
They hate their job. So, what advice would you give to that person into quitting and finding a new job or career?
Well, find something else. But the problem is the job market right now is also tough, depending on where you're at, especially if you've been at a place for a certain amount of time and you make a certain amount of money. Finding another place that's going to start you at which you've been, let's say you've been there for 4 or 5 years, trying to find somewhere that's going to start you at a place where you took this long to build up to, becomes a little bit tough depending on who you know and things like that. Like when you know somebody who works at places, that are making more than what you are making somewhere around the same, then it makes that transition a little bit easier. But finding jobs is hard. Obtaining an interview is hard. The resume process, having to update it, to tailor it.
I agree with you on that. Because even before I got into nightlife, like it was like when I was like burning out of doing life insurance for so long, I'm like, all right, let me try and find it and stuff.
What's even the recruitment process for nightlife? You just have to go to the club?
I just kept showing up, being really annoying, asking for an interview every night drunk.
Oh, okay.
So eventually I got it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this guy sucks at bar back. Let's put him, he's got a pretty face. Let's put him at the door, be a host. And then, just work my way up there gradually. But you did say something, it's like based on who you know. So that's another thing. It's not like who you know, but it's who knows you. So that way when other kind of opportunities like that come up and you are getting tired of your job, you'll be able to jump into another opportunity. But when it comes to like somebody hating their job and their relationship with their job, it depends on where you're at in your life. Yeah. If you have bills paid and money saved, you can kind of afford to
take some chances.
Yeah, exactly. Take risk and leave that job to find something else. But if you don't know how you're going to eat the next week without this job, then you better keep that job. Yeah. And then on the side, keep looking for it. Or on the side, work on your music. Work on the thing it is that you're passionate about on the side. Because at the end of the day, most people are only, if you're working at a job, you're only working 40 hours a week typically, right? That's typically what the average human being. And there's 168 hours in a week. Right. So if you're sleeping 6 to 8 of those, we got, I don't know. I'm not doing no math. I just know you have a minimum of there's another 30 hours in the week.
Something like that.
Minimum. Yeah. Probably even 40 to 50. But you have about 30 hours. You use 5 of those hours to work out, 5 of those hours to
You're really cutting it down here.
Yeah, now you got 20 hours. You can use that 20 hours a week to work on your passion or whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah. So there's always time to do it. It's just a matter of what's your financial situation. You can't just quit a job and then take an eviction and then just be broke. You got to have the stuff figured out. But a lot of people don't like their job, which is why they work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then we see them on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to escape the reality that they're currently in.
Yeah, I also wonder kind of what your attitude towards your job is on a daily basis. Because I know that a lot of people have, like everybody's attitude toward like Mondays, right? Oh, I hate Mondays, right? And so you start off dreading that day, which means that every time you go into Monday, you're starting off with dread. So if that's your attitude towards your job, you're also never gonna have a good day there.
Yeah, what do we used to say in like in life insurance, like the negativity is contagious.
Absolutely.
So always positive, like trying to stay positive. One of the first jobs I ever held, besides coaching, was I worked at Publix all throughout high school and all throughout college. And how I realized like I don't want to make a career out of this because it's a decent career. Like once you get the store manager, like you're making 6 figures, terrible hours, but that was a thought in my head, like, hey, maybe, this is my first job. Maybe I'll turn it into a career. But people were just so negative. They're like negative about the customers, negative about work. And I'm like,
that's at Publix. People are nice over there.
I know. Yeah. So obviously like fake and nice. But I'm like, this is the easiest job ever. We're just here doing not much. We're bagging groceries, talking to people, doing the money closeouts at the end of the night. Like, what is so difficult about this? It was just the way that they talk to each other. So I was like, all right, yeah, I don't want to be around that. So it's like, if you are in an environment in a work environment that is like that, I do suggest that you get out of that kind of environment sooner rather than later, regardless of what the money's looking like. Unless it's like a 6-figure income and you can't find another 6-figure income job around here, then yeah, I would maybe stay in it. But if it's just normal 50, 60, whatever it may be, and it's negative, get out of it, because you're going to just continuously drain yourself and dread going into work and just continuously hate it. And it's just going to keep being so unfulfilling to you. It's not going to be worth $50,000-$60,000 a year.
Yeah. Now, some people talk a lot about how stressful their job is, and that's, obviously contributes to a negative relationship with whatever their current occupation is. What do you feel like is a good way to manage stress at work?
Well, it depends on the role that they're in. If you feel like you're overwhelmed, break things down into tiny bite-sized tasks, but also make sure that you're being equipped into your strength zone. You know what I'm saying? Like for somebody like me, I'm not too good with organizational stuff on computer, like an Excel spreadsheet. If you give me like minimal, stupid, busy work task stuff, like I hate doing that. I'm going to make a mistake on it. But if you give me something that's like going to talk to people, being around people, interacting, sales, making phone calls, counting money,
Count money.
count money, things of that nature, like I'm better in it. So if you're doing something that isn't your strength zone, be aware of it and be aware of what you're good at it, and then go up to whoever your higher up is and like let them know that's how you're feeling. If it's just something that you're still good at or decent at and you feel overwhelmed about it, break it down. Hey, what you're going to get done each day, and don't make it too much.
Right.
And then just at the end of the week, get it done. Like don't bite off more than you can chew. I was thinking about my roommate, because he always talks about this, how he's always stressed, and he does. He's an electrical engineer, but he's a project manager. So he's like, it's always so much work to be done in a little amount of time. And, the faster they get these projects done, the more like bonus money there is. Right. But it's like at the end of the day is an extra $20,000 worth me absolutely eating shit and hating my life for 8 months. It's not.
Right.
So you also got to take in consideration of like how hard you're working. At the end of the day, you're a human being. So don't overwork yourself, because then you're going to have no quality of life. And get back, like we talked about on the last episode, like get back to the basics of having that morning routine. I feel so much better when I'm on my game doing my morning routine versus when I'm not. And I can feel that. And that stress correlates throughout the entire week.
So let me ask you this then, because you used the word that a lot of people use nowadays, overworking. What is that to you? What does that mean?
That's good. Yeah. It depends on which version of me you're asking.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what is overworking? Here's my thing.
Yeah.
You're going to be tired regardless of how much work you do, how early you wake up, no matter what. Like, you're still going to be tired. Whenever I wake up, let's say if I'm working a 9 to 5 or like during the week and not working weekends, if I'm waking up early and I'm going to the gym and then I'm going to work, I'm still going to be just as tired leaving work as if I worked out after. So it's like, understand with yourself, like, you're always going to be tired no matter what. So
something to look forward to.
Yeah, you're going to like, you're always going to be tired no matter what. So you can't use that as an excuse of thinking that you overworked. Because, there is a thing. When I'm talking about my roommate, this guy is like literally like gone the entire week, like working like 9 to 9.
I never see this guy.
Like working when we did life insurance, like 9 to 9, that's too much.
Right.
If you're talking about, if you think that you're overworking and you're only working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, you're not overworking. You just need to.
You just hate it there.
You just need to suck it. Yeah, you're not fulfilled in the kind of work that you're doing, so you feel even more tired. Or if you feel like you're overworked and you're really only working 40 hours, no, you're not overworking, because you're only working 40 hours. Right. If you're working over 40 hours, then that's when you can kind of be like, hey, am I overworking? What am I doing wrong? No. If you're only working 40 hours, I guarantee you're not overworking.
So let me, because basically, there's a lot of times where people feel like maybe not overworking, but they're doing more than what they should be they're at their job, maybe more than what they feel like
What
they're
their
getting
job
paid
task?
to do
Yeah.
or whatever the case is.
I understand that. I feel it's hard because just like, especially if you don't have a good relationship with like your upline or your managers and stuff, it's like, why would I do that? Like, why would I
Yeah.
do more than I need to? But excellence is a choice.
Yeah.
So it's like the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Right.
And I got into, I guess, a little mental slump, we can call it, of having that kind of same mentality of like, well, I'm not getting paid as much anymore, so I'm not going to do this. I'm not getting paid because sometimes you get into a role to where you just start to do a lot more than you're being asked
Right.
because you want to keep progressing. Because at the end of the day, like we're human beings, we don't want to stay in the same place forever. We want to continue.
Some people are perfectly content with that. But
Yeah.
we're not. But
But
there certainly are some people.
The people who are perfectly content with that, if you don't own your own business, even if you do own your own business, like that could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Your boss could just be like, hey, sorry, we're done.
Yeah.
And then what? So you can't really say you're content with that because it can be taken away from you just like that overnight. So let's get back to what was the exact question about?
Overworking.
No, you just asked after that.
Oh, did I ask something after that?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay. So
It was about like working harder.
Oh,
than
yeah,
you
yeah,
get paid.
yeah.
So working harder than you get paid. Your job title like doesn't matter. The kind of person you are, just work as that person would work. That's my 2 cents on that. What's your thoughts on those?
So for me, I grew up having to do a lot of free labor. So my mom, shout out to mom, who's a very avid listener here.
We love you, Mom.
We love you.
Does that do the heart?
Yeah, I don't know if it does the heart. I think maybe it'll do the thumbs up if we do that. Maybe not. I don't know.
I tried.
But so she would consistently, and all of my siblings would attest to this. She would just put us to work, just randomly on a random Tuesday for free, basically. Like especially
Speaking of that, I don't mean to cut you off, but I gotta share this. The neighbor has like a 5-year-old son. I swear to God, he was mowing the lawn today.
I'm telling you, man. We started early. You know, the scripture says, train up a child in the way that they should go. And so they made sure. So it's like, there were times like growing up, we would have like a bunch of church picnics and stuff like that. And it would be for like a bunch of churches to come together, go out, have fun, whatever. And we would be the ones setting up, cleaning up, for family.
Just your family.
Just my mother and it would just be us. We would do especially for like if we're doing a family gathering, we're cleaning up, we're setting up, just consistent, just random things for other people that need help. Oh yeah, they can do it. I'm like, what do we? So I grew up doing a lot of just bunch of working for free. So when I transitioned into actually having a job, working, I was used to working.
Yeah, just work.
I'm very good at doing what I'm told to do. So in my head, I'm like,
that is true. I've known Cleon since what it's been 8 years now.
Yeah,
for a
just
very
about.
long time since the life insurance days. And yeah, he's definitely one of our best managers when it came to like training and developing people. So, which is why we do a podcast now, and which is why immediately after I got promoted, I said, yeah, nah, I need this guy here.
Appreciate you. So yeah, I gotten used to that. So once I transitioned into the job market, I just show up and I work. I've never really had the thought of this is more than what I'm getting paid to do, because I'm like, if you ask me to do it, I'm going to assume it's just a part of what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to go get it done. So when it comes to the term of overworking, when I hear people talk about it, especially in my regular weekly job, and people talk about how stressed they are and this is way too much and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I did all this already, and to me, it was just another day. And so everybody has a different threshold on kind of what their limit is in terms of how they're being worked. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like we talk about, wherever you come from,
Yeah, exactly.
is going to have a large effect on how you transition into a job market. So when you get into a job, if you're not used to having to do whatever, like you get to sleep all day, like when on weekends growing up, we was up at 8 o'clock. My mom would be banging on pots and pans to wake us up in the morning. I didn't get to sleep in. That's why I don't sleep in now, right? And we had to go out and work, or we had to go grocery shopping at 7 in the morning on a Saturday after I went through all week doing school, sports. I had a game on Friday night, Saturday morning, I'm up again.
It was always go, go, go.
It was always go, go, go. So
you used to that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was used to that. So I think that perspective is super, super important. But I think that to manage your expectations when you're coming into a job, obviously knowing what your job description is, obviously, you don't want to do more than what you're getting paid to do, but at the same time, man.
That's how you get promoted too, though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If you're not building your own
exactly
business, this is how you get promoted, is by doing more than the job title requires and asks as well.
And some people are like, "Oh, I'm not promoted, so why would I do it?" And I'm like, "Well, what incentive do I have to promote you if you're not?" So it's kind of like that thing. And the problem is the job has the leverage. So they're the ones who get to determine if you're going to get paid or not, get paid more or not. So you can choose not to do it, but I'm going to choose not to pay you more to do these things as well.
So that's why you should be, like we were saying, everyone got 168 hours in a week.
Yeah.
If you're only working 40 of those, you got a lot of extra time. So what are you doing to find yourself another type of revenue stream?
Something.
Build your own business, build your own side hustle, whatever it may be, or do another side hustle.
But that's the thing, though, right? If you feel like you're overworked at your 9 to 5, I don't expect you to go and try and do work after that.
But a lot of people, that's true too. But it's like if you're working on something that's more fulfilling, like us recording a podcast and then doing editing and stuff like that, like that doesn't feel like work. Is it taking up time? And do I have to do it every week?
Absolutely.
Not technically every day, but I have to do it every week now.
Yeah.
Since we both decided to hop on this train and run with it. You know what I'm saying? Music, that probably doesn't feel like work to you because it's something that you enjoy, but you're still probably putting in minimum 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
So if you find something that it doesn't feel like work, but it actually is work, then figure out how to get good at it and then figure out how to monetize it. Exactly. And it could take you 1,000 hours of working towards it or on it before you figure out how to monetize it. And that's okay too. You're getting paid from your 9 to 5 or you're getting paid from your weekly job. That's going to pay your bills so you're not having to stress about it. And then you can work on your side thing, your side gig, your passion, whatever it may be, on those 10 to 20 hours a week. And then continuously learn and grow that, and then figure out how to monetize it down the road.
Yeah,
power of AI, like you can figure out anything you want nowadays. Like everything is out there. It tells you exactly how to do it.
Right.
It's only a matter of like going into one of these AI tools and asking them, "Hey, how do I do this?" And then soon we're gonna have our AI robots. They'll probably be our producer in here using a little thing.
Exactly. It's funny because I had a similar conversation like this with my little sister and my nephew when I went back home for Christmas. When I was talking to them about, because she's just gotten to high school and he's somewhere in middle school right now. And I'm like, look, guys, right now, before you get out into the real world, is the perfect time to find something that you're passionate about and very, very good at it now, so people will pay you for it later. Because the way that everything is trending right now, the world is going to be so full of only entrepreneurs at some point.
Yeah.
And so the job market is going to suck so bad at that point as well. I'm like, you guys are going to want to find something that you love. So you should be doing something for yourself on a daily and weekly basis, and then obviously doing things for your health and managing those things, just getting to a good habits of these things now. Because my nephew, he does he likes to make music too. So he likes to produce beats. He likes to rap. And he was like, yeah, so, I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So get really good at it now. So I'm asking, what do you need? Figure it out now. So that way, because, he's like, 12 years old or something like that. So I'm like, you got a lot of time to get really good at this and to get into places where, people are going to let you come in. People let kids do stuff all the time. So I'm like, get into that habit now. So that way, when you get to my age, you don't have to go through all these very fun job opportunities.
If it's a flop, it's okay. It's a kid. You know what I'm saying?
It is what it is.
Exactly.
You kindly give them the details, pat them on the back, and say, "Hey, keep working.
Keep getting better."
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the phrase work-life balance?
Work-life balance.
You're probably the worst person to give some insight on this, but I would love to hear it, to be honest.
I just want to say, first of all, I'm not the worst person. I'm the third worst person because my mother's father and then my mother and then also my father's father all are just habitual workers. And so, like I said, you grow up, you see something, you either accept it or reject it. So even now, my grandfather on my mother's side, who's in his 80s, he's just always trying to do something. He worked basically going and installing furniture for like facilities and stuff like that. I went and worked with him when I was in my teens. And he was in his like 60s at the time.
Still working, yeah.
Trying to pick up refrigerators and stuff like that. And even now, my mom's like, would you go and sit down somewhere? But it's just so funny hearing it from her because she's up at 4 a.m. every morning. Latest. And so, and I'm like, you don't really have to do that. She's been in the school system for 30 some years now. She's in the media center doing a media specialist sort of thing. And I'm like, you don't have to work this hard at this point. But it's just embedded in her. So I never saw them really take vacations. Maybe my parents never went to vacations because they have 5 kids and you have to take 5 kids on vacation when you go. So I get it. But I never saw it. So I suck at it.
Yeah, work-life balance, just work and figure out life after.
Yeah, basically.
It leads me to another thought with the ban of TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're over here talking about, like, I seen hard work. Everybody was working and stuff. What are your thoughts on the ban of TikTok and these, influencers making 10, 15K from TikTok, almost like their income is gone overnight?
Yeah, that is tragic, really, because a lot of people did go and quit their jobs. And so if they didn't have a strong setup on other platforms, then this is really going to hurt a lot of people. I don't really know. Do you know what the reasoning, like why did they decide?
It's like a China-based app, and basically, I guess all the information that was being used here.
Everything we have is made in China.
Dude, I have no idea.
Everything we're using here was probably made in Taiwan.
Most likely.
So I don't.
It was something about it like collecting data from the U.S. that they didn't want them having.
Interesting.
I didn't do a lot of research into it. I just know that, hey, I ain't got to post my shorts on TikTok anymore.
Yeah, it really is definitely because that was some people's livelihoods. But that goes to show you can be fired at any moment.
Yeah, that's why I think honestly, like, yeah, it momentarily it sucks, but think about all the innovation that it's going to create.
Oh yeah,
now they got to actually work, or do something else.
I think somebody's going to make something similar.
Yeah, they probably will end up doing something, but now they got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you go get lost on TikTok. There's some crazy videos, like crazy videos,
some outrageous niches.
Yeah, like people doing like copying superheroes and what are those things called? The people that pretend to be the people. Avatars or something. They're like avatars on there.
Oh yeah.
There's some weird stuff on there. Maybe we'll just get like real life people pretending to be GTA characters walking around.
Oh, like the Spider-Man dude.
Yeah,
who be here in Tampa.
Yeah. We met that guy, the Spider-Man dude. But there's a whole bunch. There's so many more NPCs. That's what they call
NPCs.
Them.
Yeah.
NPCs, not avatars, but NPCs.
But they're usually doing streaming. So TikTok, them not being on TikTok isn't really going to hurt them because that's not what their main thing
streaming, they get paid off streaming.
Yeah, they get paid off streaming, but there's like a bunch of streaming platforms. So TikTok isn't the main streaming platform. Yeah,
that is true. It's probably just easier.
Yeah, TikTok is more short form video based content. So the people who are doing like all the skits or just coming up there talking just nonsense and all that all that fun, or doing all the dances. The people doing the dances, man, that's going to be a tough thing to transfer somewhere else. I don't know if Instagram Reels are going to really pick up after Instagram and YouTube Reels. I don't really know how it's going to go.
I think it's good because it's just going to force them to get into the workforce.
The thing I don't see it happening.
Create. Well, they got to pay their bills.
Right. I think they're going to try and rebuild it just on another platform and hope it goes well, at least for the time being. And then if that doesn't work, but I don't see immediately people going into the job. People some of these people haven't had jobs for years.
I know.
How tough that is?
I remember seeing something. What is the generation after us? Gen Z?
Z, yeah.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
Someone posting like they made a GoFundMe so they could quit their job at like McDonald's or something. I'm like, that's crazy, bro. Just get to work. Make my damn Happy Meal and get to work. My God.
You can go get another job. There's plenty
Yeah,
of
man. No
jobs
one
hiring.
cares where you work. Just go make money. Just go make money and serve the workforce. But I think it should. You know, people are gonna be sad and mad and stuff. But I think it's good. They're gonna create so much innovation out of this because people are gonna have to figure out, how do I make money? How do I make as much money as I was making? So you got to figure out what you can offer to the workforce to be able to get that money back. But I just randomly thought about TikTok again too.
So talk to me. So how your work-life balance? What is that to you? What does that look like? Are you doing well at that right now?
I think now, yeah, I go through. I'm weird though. I go through phases. I go through phases of like I have an entrepreneur mindset, but then sometimes like employee habits.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, get into that.
I'm real good at being an employee, like just showing up when I gotta show up. You know, if I don't always have to show up, I ain't gonna show up. Like if it's just me, if it's just my work, and I don't feel like showing up, sometimes I don't show up when I don't feel like showing up. That which is why habits are so important.
Right.
Of developing routines, and then hey, after this habit, I'm doing this. After this habit, after I read, I'm getting into whatever it is, looking at Zillow, checking out the market or whatever it may be on the next thing that I'm learning. But if it's like, hey, I got to go work here, I'm getting paid X amount of dollars to be here for this time, I'm going to show up. It's easy. I'm no brainer. I'm going to show up, make that money. But as far as when it comes to work-life balance, it's really different based on like the seasons of life that I'm in.
Right.
You know, I tend to be lazier in relationships, which is almost like the opposite of what you really want to do.
Especially as a man.
Yeah, especially as a man. But if it's like money's good, it's really easy. You know, if bills are paid, dinner, you know, I can go to dinner once a week. It's really easy for me to get complacent in that kind of thing, which why now, like, there's always a blessing in a breakup, you know, which is why now it's like you start to develop that morning routine like I was talking about. It's like, okay, now that's a non-negotiable. I can't ever get rid of that. So that just keeps me more focused, I would say, just more focused on the day-to-day. Yeah, am I going to be perfect every day? No. But am I going to track it? Yeah. So work-life balance, I don't know, listen to yourself, but don't listen to like that inner bitch voice. Pardon my French, but like listen to yourself, but don't.
Out of nowhere.
I was just thinking of Andy Frisella. You know how he talks about that inner B word voice?
Yeah.
But yeah, listen to your body, and you know when you need rest, but don't listen to the voice. If it's going on every single day too, if it's like, yeah, take one day of rest, just chill out. That's what I try and do on Sundays, like have a cheat day. Don't track any food. Almost eat whatever I want to eat. Go to a movie or order a movie at the crib on Amazon Prime or something. Buy a movie. Do something like that I know is going to help reset me for the week and get back to it. As far as it comes with like vacations and stuff, yeah, those are cool, but I don't like traveling as much as some people do. Yeah. They're cool once you get there. Just the process of traveling, I'm not so fond of. Just like we were talking about earlier, it's like I gotta plan it, I gotta travel, and then why is a flight so expensive?
Why is a flight so expensive? I'm sitting in 23D. Why does this cost so much?
Yeah, it's like, and then you fly first class one time, you're like, nah, I can't ever fly anything else. And then it's like, well, these are even more. I'm like, yeah, you know, I think I'll skip out on this one. So just listen to yourself, but not that B word self. You know what I'm saying?
So how do you, so in the workplace, right? Because this is a lot of fun, actually. How do you deal with bad bosses? Have you ever had a bad boss?
Not too many to name. Nah, I mean, I haven't even held that many jobs, so. I've only held a couple jobs, but I've just worked in every single job for multiple years, like over 4 years in every single job I've ever been in.
Okay.
I'm a very loyal person. So even when I get...
Hear that, ladies?
I'm a very loyal person. Yeah, there you go. So even when, you know, a boss or something is a little... have a little animosity towards me or me towards them. You know, I still try and stick it out for the most part. But how do you deal with a bad boss?
Yeah.
Depends on how bad they are, to be honest. You
Okay.
know? Sometimes you get a hit man. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Don't deal with them that way. It's a joke. It's a joke.
All right.
How I deal with them?
Like, what do you do? How do you show up every day and still, you know, do what you got to do?
I'm just
like,
thinking
you know?
about the one that was at AIL, man. That it was so bad. I feel like it was going to end with a fist fight.
Yeah.
Because at one time we had to get Matty D involved, and it's just like a yelling match back and forth. But I'd been there for 4 years, 3.5 years at the time, so I already had enough skin in the game to be able to talk the way that I was talking. But for somebody who, that was like an upline.
Right.
And how you deal with that is you just ask to be removed away from them. And if you just continuously ask to be removed away from that upline until it actually happens. Now, if you're having like a bad boss who isn't like your direct upline, but like, let's say the owner, then you're just going to have to shut your mouth and do the work. Unless you want to find a new job. But it's like up to you at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, what are you going to say?
Right.
It's almost like if they're paying you and they're like, the sky's purple today, you can be like, yeah, it looks like magenta.
I guess it is. Huh?
I guess so, yeah. You ain't got to believe it, but you just make sure that they believe it. So it's like, I don't know, sure. But yeah, you don't really want to kind of get into an word war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just be going back and forth because at the end of the day, they're the owner. They own the spot. They're the one paying you. Who's going to win that battle?
Unfortunately, they're going to win.
Trust me, I tried. I didn't win the battle.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you going to do at that? Find a new job. You know, if you don't feel fulfilled in what you're doing, be on it. Like, keep searching. And if you keep running into disagreements and stuff with them, if it's like a constant thing, then yeah, maybe find a new job. But if it's like something like, hey, you got into a big argument, and then it's like, hey, let's hash it out and talk and settle this like normal human beings, then it's like, okay, all right, he's not really that bad of a person, or she's not really that bad of a person. We just had a bad moment together, and that was it.
Right.
Just like a relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can, if you can mend it and stuff, mend it. If you enjoy where you work, mend that relationship. If you absolutely hate where you work and they hate you and you hate them, then maybe it's time.
Might be time.
that it's time for you to remove yourself from the situation.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents on it. I know you've experienced at least one bad boss.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if you say me, no. Hitman, where's the hitman?
I've had a few, but really, so when I say bad boss, my thing is more so just kind of contradictory in terms of like how things are being run. Like one day it's this, and then because I'm a creature of habit, and I retain information very well. So if you tell me that this is how you want something done today, in a week I'm going to be doing something else, and I'm going to say, okay, so it seems like I should be applying that conversation to what I'm doing here. And then you're like, well, no, that's not how we want to do that. Then you're like, well, this is the same situation that we were talking about last week. Why wouldn't I handle this the same way? So it makes it very tough on a day-to-day to do the things that you're being told, because you're like, am I doing this right? Because this time we were supposed to do it this way. This time we were supposed to, and you keep only making me do this.
And then it gets frustrating, and then I understand that. It's one of those things you just got to kind of go through. And if there's no salvaging the relationship, then, keep finding a job. But don't quit your current job that's paying you until you find the next one. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because I find like a lot of people, like in my experience I'm not really a crazy like complainer or super like vocal about things, but I've been with people who are, and so how they address things in the workplace, they'll call a meeting and to voice their frustrations and all those other things, and that's a very noble way to go about it. But that's just never been my way. For me, I'm like a question guy. I like to ask people questions to get to a point of understanding. And if you can't justify whatever it is you're making me do on a daily basis, then I just want you to reflect on. I'm gonna still do what I'm told to do, but as we're going through these things, I try to ask questions. Like I'm like, okay, so do you feel like X, Y, and Z? Like I had a situation where a girl wanted to leave our team because she was tired of the supervisor because apparently they had a bunch of run-ins. And so she obviously, it's like a he said, she said story or whatever the case is. So as we were in a meeting and we were discussing it, I asked him, I'm like, okay, so based on how things happened, do you feel like there was any way that you could have handled this for it to end any better? He said, no. And I said, okay, well, okay. And I'm not the person that's going to argue back and forth with people on basically their opinions or their views or anything like that. Cause I'm like, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. But I'm going to ask some questions for you to at least think about it. And then if you come to a difference in opinion at that point and you say, oh, well, I can see what you're saying. Cool. But after that, I'm okay, cool. And then I'm going to go back to whatever it is I'm supposed to do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People just, like we always say, they react or act based on their upbringing.
Yeah.
So I know we wanted to talk a little bit about relationships with friendships as well, but we'll say that for another episode. But since we are since we are on the topic of relationship with work,
Yeah.
and we're talking about friendships, do you think it's okay for you to create friends in the workplace?
So
What are some potential benefits of creating a friendship in the workplace?
So me personally,
Mr. Cleon Deal.
I've never gone to work to make friends. That's never been a reason why I don't go to work.
Me
for
and Cleon
camaraderie.
are friends, though. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah. I've never gone.
I'm not
to work
holding him
for that.
hostage here to do this podcast.
There is not a large gentleman with a very large weapon standing behind the camera.
No, I promise you guys.
I promise. I've never gone to work to make friends. I always felt like, it's cool if you do. And it's always nice. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable.
But what about the other
care.
kind of relationships that you make at work?
Yeah, so those are the bad ones. We've said it many times here. Don't get involved with your coworkers. But also, it makes that. What I will say, it does make it a little bit tough when you're somebody who is a little bit more driven in the workplace, and so you do things like get promoted, and then you make friends with people who aren't. Now you're their boss.
Yeah.
And so now that relationship has to change a little bit, unfortunately. And so that creates a little bit of tension there.
I ain't never afraid to yell at him.
Well, yeah.
I'll be a friend for the most part, but you do something stupid, you're going to know.
But
you do something I got to keep repeating myself.
And that's completely fair. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, friendships within the workplace, like I said, it makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more enjoyable. But obviously you gotta be careful and keep it at a certain distance, man, because you don't really know people until you really get them outside of that job. And some people are crazy.
You don't even know people for like 3 years of being with them. You know what I'm saying? It takes a minute to know people.
I remember
some people don't even know themselves.
Yeah,
so how are you supposed to know them as they're evolving?
I remember when I had first started the job that I'm at, and this girl she had started like 3 months after I did. And so when she had started, she, like within her first 2 weeks, she's asking us to help her move. I'm like, first of all, who are you?
That leads you to the other question that I was thinking about. You already know what question just popped in my head, right? I know, man. It just makes me mad thinking about it.
It was just so outrageous to me because I'm like, cool, you make friends at work, cool, but I'm like, people to help you move. I'm like, I wouldn't even ask. Like, that's crazy.
So what do you think about the people? Are obviously outside. Let's say you got like 2-3 best friends ever, right?
Right.
If it's somebody out of those 3 people asking you to borrow some money, how you feel about that?
Outside of those 3 people asking,
they're your quote unquote friend or acquaintance, but they ask you to borrow money.
It really depends on the situation. Why do you need it? Are you somebody who I know historically sucks with money and you keep putting yourself in bad situations because of this?
They're asking for it. They're not good.
Well, I mean, maybe this was just I had a bad situation. I made a mistake with something. Something went bad and I had to pay for something. All of a sudden I was late on my check was late and I just need something to blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Obviously, depending on the amount. Let's not be unreasonable. But I'm like, something like that, cool. But if you're like a habitual bad with money sort of thing, I'm like,
But how do you
come on,
know
man.
that if you're only their acquaintance?
How do I know? Because people who have those issues will talk about it.
I'll tell you what.
You have that. They have a track record of that.
If somebody asks you for money and you decide to lend them that money, just know that that money is gone. Or
Yeah,
at least 60% of that money is gone.
I
forever.
don't lend money. I give it. If you give it back, great.
I don't anymore.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes.
If somebody asks me for money and I agree to give it to him,
Yeah.
I don't even give my brother money. And I'm like, yo, he asked me for money. I'm like, why you need money? Like, go figure it out. You're an adult at this point.
You're an adult.
You're not my little brother anymore. You're an adult.
He's still your little
Yeah, you're
brother.
still my little brother. You're an adult. But I'd be like, yo, go ask mom if she wants to borrow it too. Because, man, even when my mom would ask me, be like, hey, like, yo, let me get this. Me? All right. You my mom. I'll do that for
Does
you.
your mom have access to your bank account?
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, my mom does too. So it's like, is she
She could just take it if
She
she
could just
wanted to. But it's like, it's just, man, it's just such a, I don't like thinking about it too much because it's like, you just start thinking about all the money that's out there of the people that you lend it to, and then it just makes you really mad. Even though, money's just energy. It comes and goes freely. And I've been blessed to get rid of some and have even more come back to me. Let's knock on wood, hope that continues. But yeah, I just don't think that you should ever lend money.
So
to
you've had
anybody.
some bad encounters with that?
You know what I'm going to tell you?
Tell me.
Amscott.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead, buddy.
First of all, do not go to Amscott.
Go to Amscott. I don't know how it works, but they're going to get their money.
Do not.
They're going to get their money.
I'll tell you right now, if you will end up in a constant cycle of borrowing if you go to Amscott.
Okay, then be smarter with your money and figure it out.
I agree. That's
ahead.
exactly what the solution is.
Delayed gratification. Plan ahead. Stop buying those sneakers that you don't need. Stop spending money on anything that's not tuna and chicken breast from Walmart that you can meal prep and make 20 meals out of for $20. You know what I'm saying? Stop wasting money.
So you don't think you should give friends money
No.
ever?
Best friends? Yeah.
Best friends? How many are you allowed to have more than one best friend? How does
got
that
two.
work? You
I
have
got two.
two best friends. So who between
I grew up with since like high school.
So
middle school, a little bit of middle school and then high school.
you can only save one of them from a house fire. Which one is it?
Oh, they already know.
So that's your best friend. The other one is number 2.
They're both close though.
It's close though. That's
Probably
fair.
whoever weighs the less.
Whoever way.
I'm smaller than both of them.
You got to think on your feet on that one.
But yeah, if someone asks you for money, give it to them if you want, but know that you're giving it to them because chances are they're not going to pay.
You're
They're
giving,
gonna
not
pay you
lending,
back.
man.
Yeah, you're giving, not. If you can come to peace and terms with that before you do it, just understand you are giving, not lending. I like that.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get that money back. You might.
Well, because the thing, the thought
Very
that I
slim
have,
chances that you get it all back, though.
the thought that I have about it is that if you need this, right, that means that right now you're in a hole. Let's say it's $100. You're in a hole of $100. In order for you to give me back this $100, you have to now be up $200 to give me back my $100 for you to be back even.
And when are you ever going to be up if you're not up now?
Exactly. So I don't know when that's going to happen, and so I'm not anticipating it will happen anytime soon. Unless you just made a bad financial decision all of a sudden.
And then they get up, and then they don't want to lose that comfort of how much they're up, so
Absolutely.
they don't want to give back.
They don't want to give back to
So
anybody
it's
that they
like,
loan from.
So just know I take notes.
Brandon's
I'm
got
always
receipts.
watching. I keep receipts.
Okay.
Where's the hitman? No.
Okay. All right, man. This is the third time. I don't know. I don't know what Brandon's got going on. I ain't involved in none of that. There's too many audits going on from the government. I just want to be clear on record. That is not me. You're not about to catch me in no RICO case.
Come on, grow up.
Absolutely ridiculous.
All right, so relationships in the workplace with the opposite sex. I know this is like one of your favorite topics. What's your like recommendation with that? Like, how often should people be doing that?
I think that if you are able to have a platonic friendship with your preference, then you are completely free to do so within the confines of work. But obviously, there also has to be boundaries. Like I have a lot of at my job right now. There's pretty much it's 90% women. there. So everybody who I know there and I speak to on a daily basis is going to be women. You know, when I don't speak to those women outside of business hours. So once I leave there after 5 o'clock, I do not hear from them until I am back there on the next day.
So you basically say like you shouldn't have intercourse with the women at your workplace.
I feel like I've said that on multiple occasions that you should, but the thing is you shouldn't do the things that can lead you to that. And that's the whole outside of it, getting together, connecting, talking to each other through social media, texting back and forth, talking on the phone, all that stuff that leads to you having intercourse with your coworker.
I'm doing so good right now. Thank God. You guys continue to pray for me like I said before. But I tell you what, it is hard sometimes. And in the past, it was really hard. I tell you what, it could lead to some of the most fun.
How was it hard in the past? Weren't you doing it? Or? No, weren't you? What was hard about that part of it?
Maybe it was easy in the
Yeah.
Well, no, it created the easy situation created a hard situation.
There we go. Yeah.
You know, it creates some of the most fun.
Fun
in the moment.
It's fun because it's restricted because you're not supposed to be doing it.
Because you're not supposed to do it. Right after creates a plethora of problems. So I would recommend that if you don't want to go through those unwarranted problems that you could just prevent on your own, and you know probably prevent some heartbreak on your behalf as well.
Yeah.
Stay away. Stay away.
Yeah.
There is maybe 2% of you out there in the world that will find the love of your life at your workplace, but the other 98, stay away.
It's funny because my current job has a rule that basically if you have a spouse that does work there, you're not allowed to work in the same department.
That's smart.
And that makes complete sense because you guys having a bad day at home, you're going to bring it here. I don't want you guys sitting next to each other at here having problems with each other, arguing about little smart remarks and stuff like that, man. It's tough because it's funny because I had a guy that the guy who trained me, he had this girl who he was involved with, and so she worked in a different department. So my department is kind of small and closed off from pretty much everything else. She would just consistently just kind of be just roaming back there, just kind of going.
Was she Latina?
She was.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No, that's all right. That's all. I'm not. No further comments, Your Honor.
She would consistently be back there, and I'm like, this is just not a good because not only obviously at that time he was involved with her, but also a few other little rumblings that he was kind of trying to dip his toe in around there. And I'm like, I don't think you understand how dangerous of a game this is. This place is not, everybody sees everybody every day. Yeah. This is a very dangerous game that you're playing.
Especially if they were married.
No,
but they were just in a relationship.
Yeah.
And he was, touching other pond water.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So to wrap things up here, I do want to share a story that I haven't, and I'm going to give you guys a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
That I haven't fully shared, but since we're talking about relationships in the workplace.
Yeah.
Back when I was young and dumb, I'm not young anymore.
No longer young.
And selling life insurance.
Yeah.
And, I decided to get into that entanglement or situationship. I guess it did turn out to be an entanglement.
Yeah.
With the other coworker. But let's just call it a situationship.
Yeah.
And this was a situationship that started because she worked with us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't hang out with them outside of work. Don't be near them outside of work. If you find any sort of attraction, stay away. But I didn't at the time. I was dumb, very dumb, and thought I was God's gift to earth when it came to sales. So I thought that whoever I wanted, I could get. It was only a matter of time and talent. And lo and behold, the time went by and I had the talent.
There it is.
And we got together.
There we go.
And the way we got together was, I feel really bad. I would never do this anymore. Like, she was like talking to another dude, and like I basically took her away from him at a music festival. But long story short, not gonna get into that. That's very disrespectful to do. Don't ever do that.
Hey,
but
man,
like
if
I
you can
said,
bag her, you can have her, bro. That's what it is, man. Like, don't.
I was young and dumb. I'm not a savage anymore. We're not doing that. But I guess it was just the game of like, oh yeah,
Stop leaving your girl outside if she's easily takeable, man.
he
Stop
was
doing
with her.
it.
He was with her.
Stop letting her outside. I don't care if you with her or not.
But I seen her and I wanted her, so I was
Yeah.
going to try everything in my willpower, all my skills, put them to the test, and it ended up working out. And long story short, things are good because we hooked up and that was really fun and too much fun, and we fell in love or lust, whatever you want to call it at the time. I still don't even know what you want to call it. And then she tried to break it off. And then, me, of course, being the cool guy. Hey, that's okay if you want to do that. But, we don't need to be in a relationship. We can just keep hooking up.
Yeah.
Because I'm the cool guy.
Brandon's a certified lover boy.
Certified lover boy. And then it was working, because, we'd be in the office and we'd go home, hang out, do our thing. We go sell insurance in the field. And it was perfect. Like, all right, this is nice. And then it's like, all right, we just staying friends. And then, the L word started coming up. And then she started saying, I'm like, all right. But now we're in a relationship. You said it. Now we're in a relationship. So this is what happens when you get involved with someone at work. There's no clear boundaries and expectations.
Yeah.
You say one thing, you do another. So a lot of that stuff that goes on that confuses you.
So wait, I'm sorry. So she told you she didn't want a relationship, but then she told you she loved you?
Yeah. So in my young and dumb adolescent head at the time, it's like, oh, all right, we date, we're together. So one of the craziest situationships. But yeah, so you can only imagine how that is, say one thing and then the other, and then you're just this confused guy. And that's what happens when, one, you get involved with women at the workplace, and two, you don't have any boundaries set in place.
Yeah.
To avoid all of that.
Yeah.
So it's better to just not get involved at all.
Yeah, literally married couples don't want it. Like, think about it. You're getting together with somebody that you work with. You're together now for 40 hours a week plus whatever time you're spending outside of that. Married couples don't want to spend that much time with each other because they understand the value of being apart.
And having that alone time. Super important. But then, you know me, after you hear the L word, just super attached, super codependent, and like you need that person to breathe at this point. And that's another thing. Learn from your childhood how you react with people and learn how codependent you are on them. That was a very awakening situation, which I'm super thankful for. But long story short, everything's all good. And we go to Vegas. I know I mentioned the story briefly. And we literally went to Vegas 2 days before everybody else came to go to EDC Vegas.
Right.
And this is my second time going, her first time. So I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. I got to bring her to Vegas, show her that I already been there. Going to be a great time.
Yeah.
First 2 days, we're out in like Henderson, which is like off the strip, about 30 minutes. Great time. Everything's great. We get to the strip. Everybody else comes. The switch done flip. It's like, you know how it's like, I love you. Nothing. Cold shoulder. And then literally the day before the first day of EDC Vegas, she ended the situationship. I had no idea.
Stop taking her out if she's easily takeable. You see, the way you get her is how you lose her, man. That's what they say. That's what they say.
It started at a music festival
and ended there.
Ended right before we got there. So that was a crazy situation. And if you want to get more details in the story, ask Prater, because Prater was the one that drove us in the car.
Gosh.
But anyways, don't get involved at work. And listen to what they're saying, not what they're showing you. Like, what they're telling you is the truth. And set those boundaries with yourself so you don't get involved with it. But yeah, definitely don't get involved with work. That was a very crazy one to happen. We're on good terms now. Years later, after that happened, maybe like 3 or 4 years later, like we actually had a conversation about it, and it's water under the bridge now. A great learning experience.
Yeah.
Don't use your sales skills. What we found out later, that's called manipulation.
Don't
use your manipulative tendencies to win the girls that you think you're like. Promise you, God's going to send you the right one at the right time. Just be patient, my man. And that's what I have to tell myself. So just wanted to share that story because that was one of the situationship, relationship, whatever you want to call it, stories that we never really got into.
Your relationship with work was a relationship at work.
That was my relationship at work. And boy, that was not a good one. And then what's worse about it, this all happened on like our little whatever rendezvous vacation in Vegas. Well, I got to come back. I got to fly back with her. I got to be in the office. We're both managers at this time.
Yeah.
So we're both in the manager. What am I? That was the worst. I was like, I can't work here. I got to go. I was like, I had to talk with Daria. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Can someone get her out of here? I was like,
can we fire her? Or what do you got to do with it?
It's like, and then what?
Right.
So just be very mindful of that. If you're not ready to quit your job and do all that stuff after that relationship burns up in flames, think twice about it. Use my story of failure to set you up for success.
There it is.
And that's what the Real Deal was all about, baby. Using our own personal stories to give you guys some insight, or don't listen to it and burn up in the flames.
Try yourself.
Just like I did.
You know, I'm a big fan of just going out and giving it the old college try.
No, don't do it, guys.
If it feels right now, do it. But then come tell us about it later in the comments.
Consult me before you do it. DM us at the Real Deal Podcast, WBHALEY.
Yeah.
DM us your situation and let us consult us first before you decide to get involved with any girls at work. Because we're professionals.
You know what I'm saying?
We're professional work relationship failures.
Yeah.
And because we have failed with so many.
And with so much grace, by the way.
And with so much grace, and we've learned so much, we'll be able to help you with that.
Absolutely. No question about it.
And that leads me to my other one. I'm just kidding. That was a whole other situation. That kind of had to happen because that was a very dark time. But we already talked about that in Skeletons briefly.
Right.
But that was also a work relationship. And how did it end? I'm single. But always a lot of growth out of failed relationships. So I hope you guys have less failed relationships in 2025. And I hope if you hate your job that you find time to create something that is more fulfilling.
Right.
Even if you're not getting paid off of it right away, figure out a way. If you love doing it, like let's say it's ceramics, podcasting, creating content, whatever it may be, like figure out a way to become the top 1% in that industry.
Right.
And continuously put the time in, put the work in. If you're working on something and it feels like work, it's not your passion. Mm-hmm. If you're working on something and time flies by, like what we've been recording for over an hour here, and this is a topic that I thought we were going to talk about for 20 minutes. I don't even know. We just get into it and it goes long. We're over an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay if this episode is short, right? I literally said that. It's
one of
okay.
our longest ones.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know if we're going to be able to talk about our relationship with job for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And now look at us. So if you find yourself doing something like that, then keep doing it and keep getting better at it. And eventually you will get paid for it because somebody's going to find value in it.
Right. And to leave off here, so key elements here to managing a healthy relationship with work. So a few things: setting clear boundaries, maintaining good work-life balance, effective communication with your colleagues and supervisors, making sure you're prioritizing managing your stress levels, and also developing yourself both professionally and personally as you do those things, understanding what your actual goals are. Obviously, if you're at a place where you don't think it's a long-term career, obviously it's going to be a little bit harder to get into, but find something that you can see yourself doing long-term and being successful at. And that way you get to have a sense of purpose and satisfaction in whatever it is that you're doing. So all those things super important. Also, even more important, if you find value comfort or entertainment in anything that we're doing here. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your ex-girlfriend, as a way to talk to her. Like, hey, big head, haven't talked to you in a while.
Big head.
I've been listening to this podcast. It reminded me of you. You should take a listen. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we can get. You know what I'm saying? We'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. You said personal development, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what role you're at in the workplace. You could be the janitor, you could be the CEO, you could be area manager, whatever it may be. Continuously work on improving yourself. Don't get
Always.
complacent. Personal development is so key in everything. Managing
Absolutely.
stress, elevating in your life, learning skills to pass down to the next generation, being a mentor to somebody. Like, you can't be a mentor to somebody if you haven't been through something yourself or learned it yourself. So
You can't be a
continuously-
good one. So.
Yeah, that is true. There are some bad
You
ones
can
out
be anybody can be a mentor. You cannot
That
be a
is
good
true.
one.
But all right, we appreciate you guys tuning in. This is episode, 16? 16, yeah.
16.
16. So that's a long time, I feel like. That's cool.
Hey,
so we're
shout
already
out.
above, I think, most people stop at like 3 or 4 or something.
I
So we're
think
16.
eight. Most podcasts
yeah.
don't make it past 8 episodes.
Yeah, send us some topics you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Apparently, no topic is a bad topic because I thought that this one was going to be short, like me. And then we just... And on that note, love you guys. We'll see you next week.